Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Long time no see. I've been cleaning my house. I'm pretty dirty. I think I even wore this shirt last night to last night's gig. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I haven't seen you in a little while. Maybe I'll get into some of the stuff I've been doing later on, but not today. But I wanted to make a video response. My friend Eloy, the Umbermancer, turned me on to a video made by C4Crispy. And I guess he's got a bunch of other videos up, which I should take a look at and see what he's been saying. Because Eloy says, hey, it's kind of interesting. Anyhow, he's asking about role-playing, changing a rule to enhance immersion in a role-playing game. And the game he gave his example from, or the game that, was giving him some pause, was Weird Frontiers, which I guess is a DCC type product. I don't know if it's by DCC or not. And caveat, I have not read this game. So everything I say may be complete nonsense. Anyhow, he brought up some good points. He talked about the fact that this game uses a metacurrency called, I believe, boons and hexes, and you get a boon should you roll a 20 on a d20, and you get a hex if you roll a 1 on a d20. And if I understand correctly, these can be used by you or the game master later on to enhance or detract from another check later on down the line. And he was talking about the idea, by the way, I have no idea if these stack, if you can get several of them. I know they can cancel each other out and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you can build up a supply of them like you could things like Doom or whatnot in something like Star Trek. Or is it Doom? Maybe it's Conan. Anyhow, there's plenty of games that use metacurrency. Some of them stack, some of them don't. Sometimes the GM and or the player can have a whole bunch of them that they can use, like, what should I be saying? Star Wars. The force points back and forth, the destiny points, the destiny pool, where we can use those back and forth to influence things. So I have no idea if it works like that, but that's kind of immaterial. Anyhow, now that I've digressed, let's go back to this. I think part of what he was really having a hard time wrapping his head around was like, why in the world should, the fact that I hit somebody really well, hours ago, days ago, in a fight, why should that influence, say, my social role with somebody? Or if I whiffed, if I really missed poorly, why should somebody in the town later on during a social interaction react, less favorably toward me? And, that's one of those things that, to me, a metacurrency works or doesn't work for me, based up on, can I justify this somehow in a way that's doesn't break my in-character immersion, because that's the kind of thing that I kind of like, whether I'm the game master or the player. And with something like that, I can wrap my head around it and say, okay, well, this is expressing the fact that I'm just kind of like having a bad streak of luck, or the fates are against me. I have no idea if in this particular game, if rolling a natural 20 or rolling a natural 1 actually means anything normally. Does it give you a critical or a fumble, that sort of thing? It may not. It's kind of interesting if it doesn't, that, okay, well, at least those numbers really don't mean anything on the die, and you can look at my videos about why the numbers on the D20 don't mean anything in D20-based games. But at least rolling this number now means something. It means the fates are with me or against me or something like that, and, misfortune or fortune may fall upon me later on. So I can wrap my head around that, so a mechanic like that doesn't necessarily bother me. If it's really bugging you for your immersion, taking that mechanic out, will that ruin the game? I haven't looked at the whole game, but the idea that these things are going to happen 10% of the time or 5% of the time, for boons, and 5% of the time for hexes, I don't think it's going to change the game that much. I don't think the game really relies on having those things there. For something like Savage Worlds, it might break it if you're not using bennies. For something like Ubiquity, which is a system, not a game. But if we're playing, like, say, Leagues of Adventure, not using style can have a very huge impact on how the game feels. In fact, the game gives you options to have style have double value, so it's super heroic, or regular value, or half value, or no style at all to be super gritty. And that can have a profound impact on how that system plays and feels. So yes, sometimes those metacurrencies can really have a profound impact on the way the game feels. And so it's the caveat is, well, before you take this out or try it with it out and see how it feels, it may be awful. It may be better. That's for you to decide. I'm not above house ruling things. If anybody's watched this channel for a long time knows. However, I am much more these days. I'm much more into playing a game as it's written and seeing what does this really feel like. What's really going on here. What else was I going to say? It was something really important or insightful, maybe, maybe not. But yeah, that's a really big subject, and I think at least for me, it boils down to if I can justify what's going on in game. And I'll give you a good example. We were playing Barbarians of Lemuria. The first time we've ever played that game, I've heard about it. It's an old, OSR, new SR game, however you want to say it. And it's got some metacurrencies in there. It's got these hero points. And we were talking about the fact that they tend to reset very slowly. And I particularly like that. Some of the other guys are just, not sure about it. But they're very, very powerful, or they can be very powerful. And they're a very important resource. And so when do you use these? And then how do you justify what just happened, in an immersive sense? And so, my friend Jim's character was in a fight in a gladiatorial pit, and it became very obvious very fast that he was outmatched. He ended up using 2 hero points in that fight. One to have his shield just be splintered, and so he didn't take this enormous amount of damage, which was going to probably 3/4 of his total health was going to be evaporated in one blow, which means, of course, this guy can do that again. And he decided to have his shield be splintered and not take any damage, but now he doesn't have a shield. Later on, he hits him, because he misses a couple times. He hits the guy, and he uses a hero point to do extra damage, in this way knocking the guy out, because that was his goal, not to kill him. And so he does that. Now, you can look at that all mechanically and say, okay, well, I don't want this to happen, so I'm going to sacrifice my shield, and later on, this guy's better than I am, so I'm going to just knock him out right now. Or you can take it in an immersive sense and figure, well, Jim's character, whose name I cannot remember right off the top of my head right now, because we all have these ridiculous barbarian names we made up, realizing almost instantly, man, I'm outclassed. This guy's a lot better than me. I better save my bacon, and just get rid of my shield here, because what's coming at me is going to kill me. And then, later on thinking, man, I don't have many chances to hit this guy. I better put everything I have into whack him in the head and knocking him out. So you can think of it that way. I play with other people that just do it strictly mechanically, and that kind of bugs me. So, your mileage may vary. So I think it's not, I'm not against the rules to take out a rule. It's okay to mess with the rules, to do things like enhancing immersion, but you really have to, at least for me, first, can I wrap my head around this so it's more immersive? What really happens to the mathematics of the game when we take this out? Does the game feel a lot different? And with some of those, metacurrencies, it will feel a lot different without them in there. And then if you can live with that, then go ahead. But, very often the first thing I try to do now is try to understand why is it there. I can't speak for that game. It might be there because metacurrencies are popular. It might be there because it actually does something for the game. I don't know. It's not going to happen very often, so it probably doesn't do a heck of a lot for that game. Anyhow, this is a video response to that, so feel free to comment, man. Especially Crispy, but anybody else. Take it easy. Bye.